Hello students, today now we are going to discuss the part 2 of chapter 2 sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Hope you understood the part 1. Now today's topic, first topic, you can see it's pollination. So what is pollination? It is the transfer of pollen grains from the anther of a flower to the stigma of a flower. So when the pollen grains which are present in the anther, they are transferred from the anther to the stigma is known as pollination. The main type are three: autogamy, geotogamy and allogamy, or it's also known as xenogamy. The allogamy and xenogamy are same, you can study from your books also. Now when we say autogamy, it means self marriage. The pollen of the same flower may fall on its stigma by itself. That means a single bisexual flower is there and a unisexual flower is there, and the pollen grains are falling on the stigma of the same flower. Geotogamy, that means neighboring marriage. So the pollen grains from one flower is falling on the stigma of the another flower on the same plant. You remember that one. Allogamy or xenogamy may be the other marriage, that means the pollen of a flower of another plant of the same species may fall on its the stigma. That means different. You can see this is a different species of the same plant with, and this is the different flower. So the same species on two different plants, the pollen grains from one flower will fall on the another. It is known as allogamy or xenogamy. If on the same plant two flowers are there and from one flower the pollen grains are falling on the stigma of the another flower, it is known as geotogamy. And if it is happening on the same flower, then it is known as autogamy. So types of pollination: self pollination and cross pollination. So this geotogamy and allogamy comes under the cross pollination. So pollination must occur between plants of the same species. Next is, you can see the different adaptations of wind pollinated flowers. That means how the flowers which are pollinated by the wind have the adaptations. Now the different wind pollinated flowers are different structures because they do not have to attract insects to them, but do need to be exposed to the winds. That means because through winds pollen grains are coming, so the stigma should be exposed. You can see, so pollen grains are very small and light, they occur in very large numbers. So the stigma are feathery and to catch pollen grains on the wind. So these are the feathers on the stigma which helps in the catching of the pollen grains which are coming through the wind, and the anthers are exposed to the wind so that pollen can easily blown away. So high winds, when they come out, these anthers start vibrating and the pollen grains coming out of this. Petals are small and green as there is no need to attract the insects. So petals are very small and no scent or nectary. So it is not required because it is done with the help of wind. So very much clear with the diagram. Next is for the water, adaptation of water pollinated flowers. That means the flower which are pollinated through water. Now as seen in submerged flowers like Vallisneria and Hydrilla and Zostera. So you can see the example of Vallisneria. In this, male flowers are released on water surface and female flowers reaches the surface for pollen. So these are the female flowers and this is the male flower. So this male flower will go and the female flower is there, so it reaches out there. In seagrass, pollen grains are long ribbon like and carried passively to the submerged female flowers. Likewise, mucilage coated pollen grains are also there. So this mucilage coating help the pollen grain to survive in water also, because it doesn't allow water to degrade the pollen grain. So this is how it is happening in the adaptation of water pollinated. Next is through insect adaptation in insect pollinated flowers. As you can see that there is a different kinds. They are having a nectar source. The picture is slightly blurred, but it can still be seen. Nectar, a source of food for insect, and the flower is very beautiful. That means it is a colorful petals are there which attracts the insect, and stiff anthers and stigmas are there. The smell, colorful scented petals, that means a smell will attract the different insects also, and the pollen grains will be large sticky pollen grains which will attach to the legs of a insect. So this is how the insect pollinated flowers work. Next we come to the double fertilization. Now pollen pistil interaction, then we'll study about the double fertilization. Now how this pollen pistil interaction take place, that means when the pollen grains which are coming from the flower falls on the stigma, how the flower recognize that which pollen is to be allowed inside to form a pollen tube. Now recognition of compatible pollen, it is the interaction between chemical component of pollen and those of the stigma. So you can see the interaction is there between the compatible pollen. So these S3 and S4 both are compatible, so they will be allowed. But in this case, as you can see, S1 is not compatible, so the S1 will not be allowed, only S3 will be able to form the pollen tube. And if S2 and S1 comes, so the both are not compatible, so they don't be allowed. So germination of pollen and development of male gametophyte. Compatible pollen starts its generation stimulated by the certain secretion on stigma. In time grows out through one germ pore, and content of pollen moves into the tube, that is vegetative and generative two male gametes, which we studied in the last part of this lesson, that the pollen diagram. Next is the interaction part, is pollen pistil interaction. You can see pollen tubes grow through the tissues of stigma and style by secreting enzymes to digest them and enter ovule through micropylan. So this you have to remember, that through which they are entering, it is the micropylan. It enters the embryo sac through filiform apparatus of one synergy to liberate male gametes. So three synergies, out of this one through one it is entering, and germinated pollen grain with pollen tube carrying vegetative nucleus and two male gametes is fully developed female gametophyte. So this is how this is entering inside, and the further development is known by the double fertilization, that how this double fertilization is taking place, so which we will study. So in double fertilization, you can see from this figure, pollen tube enters into the embryo sac by degenerating one of the synergist cell and release two male gametes into the embryo sac. So these two male gametes will be released inside the embryo sac. You can see release of sperm cell. Now there will be triple fusion, that means first male gamete fertilized with the polar nuclei. You can see it is going there, n plus n. So it will become n plus pen, that means 3n, and this will form the endosperm. So that's why it is known as triple fusion, because these 2 plus 1 which is going, you can see this will form the endosperm, that is 3n. Then second is the syngamy, in which the fertilized with egg cell and the zygote will form the embryo. So the embryo will be formed here, you can see this part. So that's why it is called double fertilization, that means triple fusion plus syngamy. So you can remember this, why it is called double fertilization, triple fusion plus syngamy, and you have to explain what is triple fusion and what is syngamy. Next is the post fertilization events which are going to occur. The first is development of endosperm, second is development of embryo, then maturation of ovule into seed, and maturation of ovary into fruit. So first we will see the development of endosperm. So this development of endosperm is actually, it is preceded embryo development. There are three methods of embryo development: nuclear, cellular and halobial. So the description is not very much in your course, but you can see with the diagram the different types of the methods of embryo development in case of the endosperm. In nuclear type, pen divides mitotically without cytokinesis. Endosperm is free nuclear, thus then cell wall formation starts from periphery and endosperm becomes nuclear. So in nuclear you can see it is starting with mitotically without cytokinesis. That means only the nuclear division is taking place, not the cytokinesis, means division of cell. Okay, so endosperm is free nuclear, then cell wall formation starts from the periphery and endosperm becomes nuclear. So you can see the formation of cell wall. It provides food to the developing embryo, and if endosperm is completely utilized by embryo, seed is non-albuminous. If present, seed is albuminous. So endosperm is completely utilized by the embryo, then it is non-albuminous. That means there will be no fluffy part inside the seed, and if this endosperm is still present, then it will be known as albuminous. So you have to remember these two things why the particular seed is called non-albuminous and the seed is called albuminous. Next is, you can see the development of embryo. So this is very important. The development of embryo, it starts after certain embryo formation. You can see different types. Zygote divide mitotically and form the proembryo, and then it develops into globular and heart shaped embryo, and then the horseshoe shaped mature embryo with one or two cotyledons. So these are the different, you can say, heart shaped, torpedo, and these the two cotyledons. So this is how the embryo take place: egg, two cell, octant, globular, triangular, heart, torpedo, and mature. So these are very much important diagrams which comes in the exam or for the labeling and understanding. Next, the two most important terms, generally definition is asked: spatial reproduction, that is apomixis and egmospory, both are same. Seeds are formed without fertilization. That means it may develop if a diploid egg cell develop into embryo without fertilization. This is the point which you have to remember. Without fertilization, the diploid egg is developing into an embryo, and if cells of nucellus may develop into embryo and pushed into the embryo. So this is called apomixis. In this, fertilization is not necessary. So the definition is generally asked for this. And then it is polyembryony. So when we say polyembryony, poly means many and embryo means number of embryo. If more than one egg may form in embryo sac, it is known as polyembryony, and more than one embryo sac formed in an ovule. Other cells like synergids or nucellus develop into the embryo, like orange, lemon, mango, onion, groundnut, etc. So these are the examples of all this. Hope you like the explanation of worksheet. This chapter. Thanks for watching. Now next video will come for the chapter 3. Thank you.